Nigerian women have a walk. Nigerian women have a walk.
Okay.
We have a gait that we don't have. Like when I said, I'm just like, when I first got here, I was like, why is everybody walking so slow? In the US, fat is associated with poverty. It means you eat unhealthy food and you eat junk and you don't exercise. But thinness is associated with wealth. It means you eat organic, healthy food. You have a gym membership. You get massages. You take care of your health. So you're slim and toned and tight and wealthy. Fat is poor and sloppy and unsought. Here it's the reverse.
Yeah.
I think in Nigeria, I've heard this saying, only mumu they love. Love in Nigeria is like a luxury. Nigeria, survival is paramount. The economy is bad, there's corruption, there's no electricity. People just are trying to get by from one day to the next. That it exists in Europe, in the older countries, in Ireland, Scotland, the United Kingdom. They have witches there too. I have friends in Ireland who, when they want to get a guy that they like or something to work out for them, they'll go and do some things, little dolls and potions and funny things. White girls in Ireland, white girls in Ireland go to women and men who they mix things, items, strange things, animals, body parts, mix things, give it to them, say some words.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome once again to Africa's Realities. And today I am here with an American lady who is living in Nigeria, and an African American. I call her African American because she does have a Nigerian name, but she's African American. Please, can you say hi to our viewers?
Hi everybody, I'm Linda.
She's Miss Linda Obasi, and today I want to do a culture shock. We're going to do culture shock with Linda Obasi, and she spent more than 30 years of her life in New York.
US,
New York,
different areas.
Different areas of USA, and I know you viewers, you want to know what an American thinks about Nigeria. So we'll get on to it. So Miss Linda, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Can you give our viewers a smile?
Hi everybody, glad to be here.
Okay, let's get started. Linda, you're welcome to Nigeria. I know you are almost in Nigeria now because how long have you been in Nigeria?
Like 4 years.
4 years in Nigeria. Wow, so you're really in Nigeria now. Yeah. And the first question I would like to ask you, the first time you landed in Nigeria, when was it?
Well, I was born here.
Okay.
My family left when I was 4.
Okay.
I was raised there.
Yeah.
Then I came back here as an adult when I finished college. Yeah. So I came back in my early 20s.
Your early 20s, okay.
To visit.
Just to visit.
Yes, but this time I've been coming back and forth for the last 4 years.
Okay.
So when you say my first time in Nigeria, you mean this time that I came to live here? Or
I want to regard the visit as just visit. So this time that
I came to live
here now in Nigeria, how long has it been?
Almost 4 years.
Oh, almost 4 years. Okay, you spent most of your life in America. That means you spent almost 30 years in America.
Over 30 years.
Over 30 years in America. All your life in America. You only have experience of Nigeria, 4 years of Nigeria.
Yes.
So when you first arrived in Nigeria, what were the difference? What are the difference between America and Nigeria that you noticed?
Well, the first thing I noticed when I got here was crickets and wall geckos. At night, I would hear this noise, and I really liked that sound, the cricket sound. I would listen to it, and I was in my aunt's house, and there was a cricket in the wardrobe. So every night, I would hear this noise, and I really liked that a lot. I never heard that in New York.
Oh, a cricket?
No crickets.
Jesus.
So I really like the crickets. Then the wall geckos. First they terrified me. I'd see them come out and I'd be like, ah! And then I'd be like, it's actually kind of cute. And the way it walks, it doesn't make any noise. Like it's made of gum, like rubbery gum. And it just scatters across the wall, silent. So the first thing I took notice of was the geckos everywhere, lizards, crickets, the wildlife. The small ones, not the big ones.
You mean you haven't seen a lizard in
the US?
in the US?
No, I was in the Bronx. I was in Pennsylvania. I never saw a lizard. Maybe in Pennsylvania in the woods I saw a lizard, but
In the city, you don't see lizards.
no.
Wow.
Plenty of rats and rodents in New York and Chicago, but
no lizard.
yeah, I love the lizards. They're so cute. They always look like they're doing push-ups. They're always like.
Well, we live with lizards all our lives. Lizards are on our walls. They don't get into the room though. They don't get into the city.
Wall geckos.
But the wall geckos living you inside the house. There's nothing we can do about the wall geckos.
Yeah, that was the first thing that stood out to me.
Wow. Okay, apart from this, the wildlife, okay, you came from America and you're in Africa. Definitely, that's two different cultures. No, let's not even talk about the culture now. The cities are different. So how does it feel? Does it feel different?
Yes, for sure. Another very noticeable difference was the electricity. It goes off a lot.
Yeah, that's Nigeria for you.
So that's the main difference. Over there, we had a blackout in New York in 2003. People still talk about that blackout to this day. The blackout of 2003. But here, we have blackouts every day.
But I just want to tell you guys that this blackout is not really an African thing, it's just a Nigerian thing. God will help Nigeria. You're laughing. God will help Nigeria. Okay, apart from the blackouts, are the buildings the same, different, or the style of the buildings?
The styles, architecture. I'm in Abuja, and Abuja is not like the whole of Nigeria.
Yeah,
like, Abuja is like has its own look.
Yeah, it has its own look. Yeah.
Abuja reminds me of Miami.
Oh.
Like the trees and the way the streets are paved, and the way the houses look. Just because the U.S. is big and has a lot of different places.
Yeah, different places.
The place in the U.S. that Abuja reminds me of is Miami.
Miami, okay.
The trees,
Florida.
the short houses. The buildings don't get too tall. They don't get too tall. They're like a few stories.
Okay.
And the fact you guys call like what you call a 2-story building, we would call 3-story because the ground floor we call one.
Oh, you count the ground floor.
The ground floors we don't have anything ground floor. We call it the first floor.
No,
then the second floor, then the third floor.
Okay.
So a 3-story building, what we would call 3-story, you would call 2-story.
Yeah.
So architecture-wise, it just reminds me of Miami. Nice small houses.
Okay.
Not too many skyscrapers or high-rises.
Now, but before you came to Nigeria, when you were a kid, what were your impression about Africa? What do you think Africa is?
Oh Lord. Well, I remember before we left, my grandma's farm. I remember her chickens, her livestock, her
at age 3, you still remember?
Age 4, yeah. I remember I used to steal candy from my grandmother's jar. I used to go and get candy and close it and run and hide. I remember goats, chickens, just livestock, snails. I remember life from then. But being in the U.S., I didn't see any of that on TV. There used to be National Geographic. They'll show wildlife in Africa, large like elephants and things like that. But they didn't show before like YouTube. They didn't show day-to-day living in Nigeria or Africa, like what somebody's parlor or living room or kitchen looks like. Okay. So the American children were pretty harsh, especially the Black American children. Sorry to say, African monkey, ape, go back to the jungle. You live in the trees. You smell African booty scratcher. It was pretty brutal, and the funny thing is it was the black kids that were more brutal. Like the white kids and the Latino kids kind of like ignored African kids. Like the white kids are kind of, oh, you're different, but the black kids, it was like, you're like me, and therefore I will destroy you. So I don't understand that psychology. It's a self-hatred that goes on there. But so my impressions of Africa was my grandmother's farm, and then what these black kids were telling me about being a monkey and going to the trees and scratching my butt and stinking and things like that. And I was like, what? I never saw any monkeys when I was in Nigeria, when I was little. And no, my grandmother had a house. She didn't live in a tree. Things like that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just kids, but it perpetuates. Because as an adult, I was a substitute teacher in public school in New York, and I hear the kids saying the same things they said, the same things to the new African kids that they said to me decades ago. So I'm like, oh, your parents grew up and told you the same thing that they said to me when I was little. When is this gonna stop? Like, get a clue. There's YouTube now. You can see the houses. You can see the buildings, the cars.
Yeah, before they say we Africans we live on trees and all sort of things, they don't know that we have our own civilization. Okay, so now, living most of your life in America, what are the difference you saw in terms of way of living of the Americans and that of the Africans?
Okay, some of the differences. One of the first very superficial difference I saw is house help. We don't have house help in the U.S. Only the richest of the wealthiest people have somebody in the house helping you wash things, clean up, just day-to-day living, cooking, cleaning, laundry, shopping. Everybody in the U.S. that's middle class and working class, you do it by yourself. You wash your own clothes, cook your own food, sweep your own floor, and mop. So house help was really like, wow, everybody has house help. Even like the middle class here, even the struggling seem to have somebody, a house girl or a house boy. So that was a big cultural difference that I noticed coming here, is house help. Paychecks come once a month here, but in the U.S. most job paychecks come every 2 weeks or every 1 week.
Oh, okay.
I've never heard of anybody in the U.S. waiting 30 days for their pay.
Okay.
So that was another one. I was like, 30 days? How are you supposed to get to work? Like, how are you going to get to work if you don't get your salary in 30 days? And how do you, paying rent once in a year. Over there, rent is due every 30 days. So here, rent is due once in a year. So there's a pro and a con to that. It's like, okay, now you have to save your money all year and then pay it. But then you have to have a lump sum. Whereas over there, you don't have to pay such a large sum at the same time. However, it's almost like, I don't know, there's like a feeling of slavery, like every 30 days. Like every 30 days you have to pay like 10 bills. Everything is due in 30 days. So as soon as it's the first of the month, you pay everything, and if you're feeling like, okay, I'm on point, I'm on schedule. And 29 days later, you're a debtor again. So it's like a never-ending. But I guess that's life in the whole world. Whether it's every 1 year or every 30 days, life is about paying bills.
Yeah.
So unless you want to live in the woods or live in the wilderness, that's life.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question though. Have you suffered racism abroad?
Yes, but not the kind of racism like somebody calling me a racial slur, like the N-word. Nobody's ever called me that to my face. But institutional type, like in school, casting, they never knew how to cast the black acting students. They always put us on like these roles that were like on the side, peripheral roles. They didn't really, I didn't feel included in the casting in school. Jobs, some jobs, they might have certain things in mind for who they want to work for them. So that's another form of institutional racism. Law enforcement, if somebody who looks one way is smoking marijuana and somebody who looks a different way is smoking marijuana, the punishment is different. Even real estate, I have a white male friend who's a real estate person. He said it's not written anywhere on paper because it's illegal, but there's an unspoken rule. Some buildings in New York, you're not allowed to allow anybody black to live in this building. Wow. Even if they come with 10 years worth of rent in cash. They're not allowed to live in that building. They will, it's buildings for whites only. Sometimes they'll allow Indians or Chinese people in that building, but it's unspoken. They have to be creative in making up reasons, so that the black person doesn't have proof to sue you, because they can sue you if they can prove it. But yes, this is a real estate agent, a white man, who told me that it's an unspoken thing. That there's some buildings no blacks are allowed in that building.
Okay.
So the racism
is a systematic.
It's a systemic racism. Yeah, things like that.
Okay. And have you had hatred for white?
When I was a teenager, I hated white people for like many months. When I started reading about slavery, I started seeing pictures of the slave ships, all the bodies packed like sardines in the ship. Okay. You know, the middle passage from Africa to those other countries. They carried them like animals. How many people were killed? The pregnant women who had the babies torn out of them. When I saw those drawings and photographs of slavery, I was like, these barbarians. And I really hated white people for many months. I actually hated white people, didn't want to deal with them at all. And then I was like, Then I got some logic and some common sense, and I reasoned that these are their descendants, even though many of them, the wealth that they have is carried down from that theft. Because if you have 3 centuries where you don't pay salaries, you're gonna get rich. So a lot of that wealth is still here. It's passed down. So even though some of them are benefiting from that wealth, they were not the ones who perpetrated the actions. They didn't kidnap any black people themselves. So I just balanced it out, and I don't hate white people at all. Actually, my closest friends are white people.
Oh, your closest friends are white people?
Yeah, in the U.S. Like my closest besties are all white women. Yeah, it's complex. You can't hate a race because of something that happened in the past. It's complex. It's multi-layered. So you have to look at it in a mature way with understanding. Systemic racism exists, and it should be battled systemically. You shouldn't go and start fighting a white person. The system should be dismantled and put together in a way that's more fair.
Okay. Well, I'd like to ask you this question. You are in Nigeria now. If you see a Nigerian lady and you see an African American, without speaking, can you tell the difference?
I think I can. There's a few markers. One, clothing. Certain kinds of clothing are in style in Nigeria. That's different from what's in style over there. And even over there, you can tell a black woman if she's from the city or from the country, if she's wealthy or if she's not, by the clothing. So clothing says a lot. Without the person even speaking, without hearing their accent, their posture, how do they walk? The walk can tell you that Nigerian women have a walk. Nigerian women have a walk. They have a gait that we don't have. Like when I said, I'm just like, when I first got here, I was like, why is everybody walking so slow? Hurry up! I'm sitting in a restaurant and I want to order food. I have the menu and the waitress is just like, so sluggish. Then I learned about malaria and I was like, oh, does everybody have malaria? Is that why everybody's walking so slowly? I'm from New York. We walk fast. We have somewhere to be. We have to do a New York minute. A New York minute is like a year passes in a minute in New York. So when I got here, I was like, what is wrong? Women just be sashaying this gait. And at first I called it the malaria walk. And then I was like, it's just a slower pace. So that small things like that can let you know this woman is African or Nigerian or American. The clothing, the posture, the gait, even the attitude, just sounds, sounds, all these things let you know.
They let you know. But apart from these things, just an American, if you enter a room, there's an American lady, there's a Nigerian lady, dressed in the same kind of clothing, and is there any shade of skin that would let you know this person is not American, this person is Nigerian?
The skin color cannot tell you at all, because there are Americans who are as dark as you are, completely dark, and then there are Nigerians who look half caste, but they're not half caste. That term's kind of derogatory. Mixed race. I got half caste from Nigeria, because no one says that.
It's not derogatory in Nigeria, though. I call them half caste, not really.
But I don't think half caste people call themselves half caste. I think everybody else calls them half caste, but they call themselves mixed.
No, in Nigeria they call themselves.
They say I'm half caste.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In Nigeria, we grow up. That is, it's not something bad to say. In fact, because do you know why? Because in Nigeria, we esteem the half caste.
Yes.
This one has the white man's blood, so it's special to us.
So a person who is half caste wants to show his half caste.
I'm half caste. You're right.
You get what I'm saying?
I remember.
It's not like in South Africa. I heard in South Africa, they call them color. They don't call black people color. They call the mixed race color. And the white people don't want to have anything to do with the mix, and the black people don't want to have anything to do with the mix. At the point, the mixed race are on their own, because you are in the middle of two hatred coming this way, hatred coming this way, and you are in the middle. This one is not accepting you, this one is not accepting you. But in Nigeria, if you are a mixed blood, wow! In fact, all the guys, if you are a lady, all the guys want to marry you. If you are a guy, all the ladies want to marry you because you are a mixed blood, because they want to have a white man blood for their children too. I don't know, but it was kind of attractive. So, but the only word we have for them is half caste, and they like it because they say we are half caste because it gives them that edge over those who are not half caste.
Yeah. I've noticed that the colorism. Nigeria has a lot of colorism.
Okay.
Colorism exists all over the world, but in Nigeria it's pretty pronounced. I feel like Nigerians will respect someone if their skin is more fair without knowing the content of their character. They'll respect them based on their skin color.
Well, I want to say something here. When I was growing up, I'm from the North Nigeria, and I hated being dark. I hated being dark because we have more darker people in the north. So all our ladies prefer fair guys. Our ladies prefer fair guys. So I was thinking my skin color was not the right color. What would I say? Until I found out that all the southern girls hate the white guys, the light color guys, and they were coming for me. I said, wow. And they would say, wow, you are black and beautiful. Ah, I like black. No, I don't like white. All the southern girls. No, I don't like the light skin.
It's like effeminate. If it's too light, it's like feminine somehow.
Yeah, some of them say it like that. Yeah. So I now found out that if a person is fair, he prefers dark person. If a person is dark, he prefers fair person. So there is no stereotype to your skin color in Nigeria. It's just that in the movie industry, maybe for picture wise, they like the fair, but we still have darker, like Genevieve and the rest. Yeah, they hit it big there. And so somehow, if you are from the north, the northern ladies are looking for the fairer guys. If you are from the south, the southern ladies are looking for darker guys.
That's true. Opposites do attract, and people do like contrast. It's interesting to be someone who sounds different from you, looks different from you. Yeah. That's also attractive, and it brings chemistry. Yeah. But the film industry, though, there's one or two brown-skinned people, but I think the overwhelming majority of the women being cast are fair-skinned, and they look related. They kind of all start beginning to look like they're related. They're all fair-skinned, plump, with waist trainers. They just all look like these big waist snatched, albino skin. Like there's a uniformity that I'm seeing beginning to develop.
Yeah. Okay. There's one thing I want to ask. You know, in US, all the ladies, they want to be slim. They want to be slim, and it's like you are very attractive when you are slim. But Africans, we like the plumpy. We hate these skinny ladies. That's for sure. Real African doesn't like. In fact, if a wealthy man is married to a very slim woman, he will be so annoyed because people will be feeling like he's not wealthy. Why is his wife slim? She's not eating well. She's not. In fact, his wealth is supposed to show in his wife. Even sexually, the African man prefer the. Because I've heard people say, "Can you sleep on something like you're sleeping on a broom?" Things like that. You sexually, the African man prefers the plumpy person. And so how do you see this contrast?
That's a big contrast I've noticed, because in the US, fat is associated with poverty. it means you eat unhealthy food and you eat junk and you don't exercise. But thinness is associated with wealth. It means you eat organic, healthy food. You have a gym membership. You get massages. You take care of your health. So you're slim and toned and tight and wealthy. Fat is poor and sloppy and unsought. Here it's the reverse.
Yeah,
Plump ones is, oh, you're eating plenty. You're getting meat and lots of food and
yeah.
you're taking care of it. And skinny means, and I'm just like, whoa. That is one of the contrasts of the two cultures that blew my mind. Is the fat versus slim aesthetic.
Okay. Yeah.
Just medically speaking, it's healthier to be slim.
Okay.
Even though, of course, some slim people have high blood pressure, some slim people have high cholesterol.
Yeah.
But overall, fat leads to health problems.
Health problems. Okay.
Overall, across the board, across races, being overweight leads to health problems. So it's just healthier to be. I'm not saying everybody should be a broom.
Yeah.
But I think Africans need to watch their diet a little more.
Okay.
Because where I was raised, being slim just means you're watching. Are you eating greens? Are you walking? Are you doing any yoga? You're doing something to just try to stay. And just my personal opinion about size is that if you're big, you can't move easily. I like to walk fast, and I'm an actor, and I like to be active. And when I gain weight, like the weight I am now, it's hard to carry it around. It's like I'm carrying extra bags with me everywhere.
Okay.
And it's like, so.
You know, when I was growing up, the women, they will say, look at me, I'm just slim, like, why am I slim like this? I'm eating to be fat, but I can't be fat. So the slimmer people are hating themselves for being slim. The obese, the obese, if you're obese, people will laugh at you. And if you are slim. But when you are somebody like you, or even bigger than you, say, wow, that's...
Oh, thanks.
Another question I want to ask you. How is love like in US? How is love like in Nigeria?
Okay, I think in Nigeria, I've heard this saying, only mumu they love. Love in Nigeria is like a luxury. Nigeria, survival is paramount. The economy is bad, there's corruption, there's no electricity. People just are trying to get by from one day to the next. You don't see as much fantasy, romanticism, fairy tale. There's no time for that. And things become transactional. Most of the dating I see is, not just dating, even friendship. What can I gain from this person? It looks to me very opportunistic and cold, but it's a survival tactic.
Okay.
I think people only become friends with others. What can I get from this person? Or date. A Nigerian girl might decide to have several boyfriends because she can get, if she adds up all the money she gets from all the boyfriends. Having a boyfriend is like a source of income.
Yeah.
For some Nigerian women that I've
Most
met.
Nigerian women. Most.
If a boyfriend is a source of income, then the more boyfriends you have, that's more side hustles.
More income.
So that's more money. Whereas in the US, most of the women work. Yeah, most women work. Anybody who doesn't work, you'll be asked, well, why are you not working? So most people in the US figure out how to get their own money. So when you interact with someone, it's based on common interests, chemistry, attractiveness. I like this person. So it's more romantic over there. And dating is more based on either lust or compatibility or other things, not gain, not financial gain, not opportunism. And what can this person put me through, get me a job at this office, or give me cash? It's just, oh, I like this. Oh, you're into anime too, or you're into exercise too, or you're into cooking
you
too.
have things in common.
Yes, then you bond on that. I don't see that as much here. People who have nothing in common here, you'll see them as friends or even as spouses because of compatibility.
Well, sorry to tell the world, but people who don't have feelings for themselves, you see them going out together because the entire friendship of Nigeria of these days is all about what I can gain out of it, financially, materially, and there's even a saying now that love is a scam. Because of the unemployment, the problem of unemployment in Nigeria, a lot of ladies depend on men to survive, and it's only the person who is ready to give them money. And now it has become like every other lady has a shower vibe. that.
Ashawo vibe. Ashawo means
Ashawo means prostitute. Yeah.
oh.
Everybody's like Ashawo vibe. They'll tell you clear and clear. How this one, you don't have money and you're coming. They tell you, they hold me. You don't have. Look at this wretched poor man. How can this poor man look at me and say he loves me? He doesn't have money. If you don't have money, like it's like you look down on them if you don't have money to think you are coming.
And also, any woman who dates a man and is not getting money from him is looked at as a fool.
He's looked at as a fool. Yeah, as a fool. Any woman who loves man genuinely and he doesn't give her money, everybody say you are a fool. So there is this dependency, like because I'm a lady and I'm your lady, I'm entitled for money. You just have to give me money. And I'm not here for love, because love doesn't exist in Nigeria. The ladies now are saying love is a scam. Nobody does love again. What money can you give me for us to be going up? And I think that's a very, 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 very unfortunate situation.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah, but God will help us. So, okay, but let's go to the guys now. So I like to ask you this question. American guys and African guys, I don't want to say Nigerian, let me just say African guys, or let me Nigerian guys, who do you think treat women better?
That's a tough question. I think it depends on what is considered good treatment.
Okay.
Is it spending money on the woman? Or is it being faithful to her, not cheating on her? It depends on what the woman considers good treatment. For example, the topic of cheating. I think in the US, my opinion, cheating is more frowned upon in general. I know everybody cheats in every culture, but I think in Nigeria or in Africa, when men cheat, it's not like the end of the world. It's no big deal, kind of. Whereas in Nigeria, in the US, anybody who cheats is considered a dishonest person, and it's more frowned upon. Like that person is a cheater.
Okay.
Even though cheating happens, it's frowned upon.
Yeah.
So I feel like when it comes to the cheating aspect, that if an American man cheats, he's more. That's really a tough one, because cheating still happens, but I just feel like in Africa it's more rampant, and women just have to accept it.
Yeah, actually in Africa, because of the culture of polygamy, and has allowed women to even say, well, men are made to cheat, because if not for Christianity, a man marries 4, a man marries 5, 6, 7 wives in Africa. So he having a wife doesn't stop him from him going out looking for another woman. So because of that tradition, and in every tradition we have these things that a man can marry more. It's just religion that restricted it, but tradition, men marry as much as they can cater for. Well, in the Islamic people now, they marry up to 4. But the traditionalists, because Islam came to Nigeria before Christianity, and the traditionalists, they can marry as much as they want. But when Christianity came, and now it regulates the marriage to one person, so now the Christians are marrying one, but that is the Christians who are very serious about the religion. But those who are not serious about religion, they still marry as much as they want to marry. But I think the religion is really taking over. A lot of people believe one man, one woman is okay. But just culturally, it's nothing if a man cheats. But it's a very big issue if a woman cheats. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't
But
know
you're
why.
saying which men treat women better. So it depends on the woman. An American woman, if an American woman is cheated on, she'll take it harder than an African woman who is cheated on.
Yes.
So an American woman might feel like that's intolerable. An African woman might tolerate it.
She would tolerate it.
Yeah. Then the other aspect of a man treating a woman well is spending money. In the US, when people are dating, depending on who it is, not everybody does this, but I feel like African men are expected to spend more on their girlfriend. So an African woman will feel this man is treating me well because he's spending more on me. Whereas in the US, I think it's mainly just like a date. If a man and a woman go to eat, usually the man will pay for the food.
Yeah.
But sometimes a woman will pay for some of the food, depending. But beyond food, American women aren't expecting him to pay for her hair, her rent, her phone bill, give her pocket money. Even if it's her husband, she's not expecting him to pay for her hair, her phone bill.
You must pay for your girlfriend's hair, must pay her
Rent.
you must pay whatever.
My friend is getting married,
You have to take care of her because she's your girlfriend. And it is an African thing, right from tradition. The man must take care of his wife. Now, there's even one funny thing. Even if your wife is richer and you are an African man, it is expected that she doesn't use her money. You use your money to take care of the family. So when she uses her money to do one or two things, it's a help. She's helping you. She's not like
exactly.
Yeah, she's helping you. So when you see a man that his wife is giving, his wife is doing the man, say, I have a wife that's really helping me, because it's expected for the man to take care of everything.
I think it's extreme. I don't expect a man to be taking my money from me, but I will not try to make a man into a money machine or a slave and like be stressing his life. I also will try to bring in money and pay for things myself. So that question is really relative. It depends on the woman.
Okay.
What does a woman consider being taken care of? If I had to choose, I'd rather have someone who I'm helping with the bills, but they're being monogamous with me, versus someone who will pay for everything and lavish me and have girlfriends all around. Because there are perils and dangers to that polygamy. Besides diseases, you can bring diseases into the home. You can infect your wife. Spiritual diseases, you can affect your wife spiritually. One of your side chicks might do something to you that will affect your wife. All of that you're bringing into your bed. So I would rather have somebody who is not rich and lavishing me with gifts, but who respects monogamy. That's my personal opinion. So yeah.
There's something I noticed, maybe watching American films and everything. I found out that if a man and a woman, married people, if they get to part ways, it's the woman that sends the man out of the house.
Where?
Like if they are married and they are now separated, it's the woman that sends the man that packing.
Oh, you mean the U.S.?
The U.S.
That's true.
But in Nigeria, it's the man that sends the woman packing out of the house.
Yes.
What can you say about this?
That one, I'm not sure where that came from. It makes me think of some kind of old European chivalry. Like when a husband and a wife quarrel in the bedroom, the woman goes, sleep on the couch.
Yes.
She gets to stay in the bed. Even if they quarrel, it doesn't matter who's wrong or right.
Yeah.
You're sleeping on the couch and I get to keep the bed. I don't know where that started.
And if anybody's leaving the house,
get out. And even if it's the man's house, he has to. Yeah, I don't know where that started from culturally. It makes me think of old, like Europe and chivalry. You know, like a man will take off his jacket and lay it on the mud and the woman will walk on his coat. Things like that. It started long ago. And that's why when they quarrel or split up, the woman stays in the house and the man has to get out or he has to sleep on the couch. I don't think it's fair.
Okay.
But
we Africans, when there is a crisis, is the one that goes out, because mostly is the man is keeping the man, and it's all about whose name is in the title of the house. Is the owner of the house. You have to go, and mostly men are the ones who have the houses, so the women are the ones who pack out. Okay, let's come religious now. I want to talk about religion. What do you see about religion, Christianity, America, and Christianity Africa? How do Americans take Christianity? How do we here in Africa? How do we take Christianity? Is there a difference?
what comes to mind is this song called Hypocrite by a Nigerian musician named Falls. Falls the bad guy, I think he goes by. God is mentioned in Nigeria and Africa a lot in everyday speech. God is mentioned, God is praised, God is thanked. Churches are full. Religion is a very big part of people's daily lives in Nigeria, but I feel like it's more in word than in deed. Whereas in the U.S., my experience, people's relationship with God is more private. It's not something that they will be wearing on their sleeve all the time. And a Nigerian might see it as, oh, this person is ashamed of Jesus. I wouldn't call it being ashamed of Jesus. It's just looked at more like a private thing, the relationship you have with God. And I feel like in that culture, people are more likely to try to live the relationship with God in their day-to-day lives without saying it, without always calling on God's name and verbalizing it. So it's more in actions, more in deeds, more in thoughts. It's more internal. Whereas Nigeria, it's more open, more on display, but I feel like it's also more superficial. It's more on the outside. When it comes to day-to-day interactions, when there's a chance to be honest or cheat, a chance to do the right thing, or integrity. Integrity is doing the right thing when no one is looking. And I feel like in Nigeria, if no one is looking, I feel like it's just more likely somebody will not do the right thing because nobody's looking. Why? You can get away with it, right?
Yeah.
So religion here, I feel like, is a costume that people wear. It's a communal, societal, community thing, a costume. Whereas over there, I feel like religion is more personal, private, and it's more involving ethics and morals. Here, it's more for show. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, well, we Africans are too much into spirituality. So they are more of spiritual, more than Americans. I think Americans are more of science, and science is natural. So I think the typical white person thinks more of science than spirituality, while the typical black person thinks more of spirituality because there are a lot of voodoos, there are a lot of juju, there are a lot of things to do with the spirits. And that is why you see a lot of people, if you are not like in this class of spirituality, you have to be in this class of spirituality. And again, another thing I would say is that I believe that when you see a person who says he's a born again, maybe in America, and that person is genuinely born again because born again is not in vogue. It's not in vogue. It's like most Americans look at you and say, this one has lost his way. This one, what is this one thinking about? Is there anything like God? What's wrong with this one?
The Jesus freak.
That's
a Jesus freak.
But while here, pastors are held in high esteem. So when the pastor or somebody is into the work of God, is preaching, hold them in high esteem. Same way, when the person is another side, I don't want to say with the devil, God forgive me, but when you see witch doctors and everything, those who patronize the truth still hold them in high esteem. So every person who is able to connect himself spiritually to either this spirit or to this spirit is held in high esteem. So when you see insincerity about religion, it's all because a lot of people are even mixing the two. More than 70% of the people you see in church, more than 70% of people you see in church in Nigeria have had one way or the other gone to do something with the other spiritual. Either they still hold on to something given to them by a witch doctor, or they go to their village at holidays, and in their village they pass through some cultural, they call them cultural, but there are some things you do for this spirit, things to appease this spirit,
Yes.
to appease the ancestors, things to do with spirits, because ancestors are spirits, because they are dead and gone.
Yeah. You were saying, I just wanted to clarify, we touched on actually very different aspects, different things. I just want to clarify that there's the religion itself, the organized religion.
Yeah.
Then there's spirituality, which is actually different from religion.
Okay.
Then there's morality and ethics.
Okay.
And then there's 4 things we touched on.
Yeah.
And they made like a lot of generalizations about each culture. But the generalizations are based on our observations. That Africans do tend to be more spiritual and actually more religious. Yeah. Oh, and then science. ethics and morals, science and technology, religion, organized religion, spirituality. Those four aspects. But there are a lot of Africans who believe in science, and there are a lot of Americans who don't believe in science, who are more spiritual and more religious. You won't see them much on social media. The ones you see are the ones, like, there's a way that social media kind of colors a society. There are a lot of very, very deeply Christian people in America, and very, very spiritual people in America too. But I totally get what you're saying, that there is a lot of mixing happening in Nigeria, and the ones who are following other spiritualities that don't align with their religion, but they'll be doing both.
They'll be doing both. Yeah.
Yes,
And
that
you
is
can't- because like you need help from this, and you need help from this, and you're mixing the help.
That seems like
you run to pastor to pray for you, to involve a God, spiritual God, and then at the same time you run to a witch doctor again to pray for you.
A deity, a pastor, Jesus and God.
Yeah, so
to me it shows that you're not really having faith in.
So I don't know where you stand, and 70% of Africans are doing that.
Mixing.
They just believe anybody that can connect himself to the spiritual world, to tap help whom they can meet and let him be a channel of help from the spiritual to the physical. They go to that person. So they believe a pastor is a channel of help to touch God and draw help from God. They go, pastor, pray for me, please ask God. And they believe a witch doctor has a channel to spiritual demons and draw help from demons. They go to him, oh please, I need help. Everything to make them survive, they do. And I just believe that the white people, most white people, they just believe on science. Let us dig this ground, let us mix this chemical.
But they also have their deities. Yeah. The Irish people, the Scottish people, they have their deities. Okay. They have their witches and witchcraft. And they're practicing it in America too. Okay. They have religions, like a religion called Wicca. Wicca is a something about nature that an average person would call it witchcraft. Oh. This is white people. Okay. So white people do have a deep spirituality too, and they have deities who have names, and they give offerings to them too. So yes, that spirituality and the deities and all of that, they exist in Europe, in the older countries, in Ireland, Scotland, the United Kingdom. They have witches there too. I have friends in Ireland who, when they want to get a guy that they like or something to work out for them, they'll go and do some things, little dolls and potions and funny things. White girls in Ireland, white girls in Ireland go to women and men who they mix things, items, strange things, animals, body parts, mix things, give it to them, say some words.
Yeah, just the way they do in Africa. Oh my God.
In Ireland, I can speak for Ireland because I was there.
Okay.
So, but I know that a lot of the European countries have the same thing. Eastern Europeans, the Kardashians. A lot of people consider them white witches. The Kardashians, like.
Oh, that's what they.
Yeah, in the U.S. they consider them white witches. So.
Why do they consider them so?
People believe that they got into demonic things and deities to get to the level of fame that they have, and they believe that they use the black men that they date and marry. They use them as sacrifice. That's why a lot of the black men that they date and marry, things usually go bad for them after they're with them. It's a joke. There's no proof of this.
There's no proof of this.
But they believe that the Kardashians use black men as sacrifice for their fame.
In Africa, if maybe a lady, you are married to a man and he dies, and you marry to the next man, he dies, everybody leaves.
Yes. We are aware of the African spirituality, but that spirituality, I believe, exists in all the other cultures and continents as well. Asia, Europe, America, South America, they all have their special people that they seek help from, and then go to church on Sunday, to the Christian church.
So it's not just an African thing.
It's not just an African thing.
It's global.
I think so.
Okay, I was thinking the white people only do science, and science, we are told that science is the study of nature. So science has nothing to do with the spiritual. Everything is nature. You dig this, you form this, you this, and this. Everything is natural when it comes to science. So we now believe that since the white man tells us that science is the study of nature and everything about science is about nature, we believe maybe they don't have witches and wizards.
They do.
People that do with the spiritual.
They cast spells. Even the word, okay, Hollywood is there's a kind of wood called holly, and these are rumors I heard, like old tales about the word casting a spell, or having a cast in a movie comes from the word cast a spell, and magic wands, and there's a lot of references to magic in Hollywood, and I don't know a lot about it, but the word cast. Someone once asked, why did they call choosing actors casting?
Okay. And talking about Hollywood, so we're going to talk about Hollywood and Nollywood now. And you are in both industries, same industry. You are in both industry. You've been in Hollywood for many years, and you are now in Nollywood. What are the noticeable differences you can say between these two movie industries?
Well, Hollywood is a lot older, so they have structures and regimented systems in place that have been in place for over 1 century. And Nollywood is younger, so Nollywood is still developing their own structures and systems. There's more room for someone new to enter Nollywood and forge a path of their own and be a trailblazer. Whereas Hollywood, many of the trails have already been blazed, and it's like there's already a rigid system that you kind of have to figure out how to navigate, play along, and fit in.
Okay.
So I feel like there's more freedom in Nollywood to create something really new and never seen before.
Okay. And my question is, when you were in America, and when you were a child, there were no Nigerian films, or later you must have come to realize that Nigerians have started making movies. So while you were in America, all those years that you were growing up, in your 20s, like Nigerian movies were coming up and everything, did you know about Nigerian movies? Is it, do people, do they know about Nigerian movies then, or is it just something we know here and is completely silent over there?
Well, it started up when I was like in my teenage years. In the African markets in the U.S., where they sell African food, they sell stockfish, egusi, and the gari, things like that. They started also selling movies. These DVDs, remember the VCDs? We had DVDs. So they would have pirated copies shipped to the U.S.
Okay.
And we would buy them. And we started watching Mama G and Genevieve, Aki and Papa. So when I was a teenager, I started watching these movies, and I was like, look, the people on the screen look like me. Representation, as they say. It doesn't matter a lot to see people on a screen, on the TV screen, that look like me, that sound like my parents. They have my parents' accent. They sound Nigerian, so I was very excited when I saw that Nigeria was making more movies. I was like, oh my God, I have to go. I have to go. I have to be part of this. I have to go and be part of this.
But not about you now. Generally, America, how was it? How is there a phenomenon about Nigerian movie in America?
Among black people, there is a phenomenon. Black people from the Caribbean, from Jamaica, black people from Canada, black people from all over the world in the diaspora. Black people generally love Nigerian movies. They Nigerian movies have attitude. They have swag. They're bold. The storylines are bold, even though they don't care so much about technical detail. When they were starting out, they're spending more time and attention to technical stuff now. But back in those days,
it was all about
the storyline. And so audiences love that. Like Jamaicans, when I was in a play in Florida, and the producer is originally from Jamaica. Thank you. And when she was marketing the play, she introduced me as a Nollywood actor, and I was like, I'm not really. I've only been there for like a year, but the reason she did that was because she knows that Jamaicans like Nigerian movies too.
Okay.
And I didn't know that. I was like, wow, Jamaicans are watching Nigerian movies? She said, oh yes. They know the names of the celebrities, the Nigerian celebrities, the names that I don't know. And it was really surprising in a pleasant way. So Nigerian movies are not just for Nigerians.
Yeah, no, all
everybody
of Africa, yeah, we know Africa, they love our movies.
Everybody
they watch our
black
movies.
on the planet likes Nigerian movies, and they forgive the technical.
The technical.
Because it's just-
Yeah, because that's where my next question is. Because Nigerian movies are poorly made. Let's face the truth. They are poorly made. So I wonder what would make somebody who is used to watching all these sophistication, special effects in movies, to sit and watch a Nigerian movie that technicality and everything is completely poor.
Because story is king.
Okay.
The story is king, and not just the story, but representation. Seeing
Yeah.
brown skin on the screen. I grew up watching people that didn't look like me. You know, like Superman and wonderful stories, but nobody looked like me.
Yeah.
So people think that it's no big deal, but it does have an effect on children. When Barack Obama became president, that affected a lot of little black boys. A lot of little black boys were like, I think I can do anything. I think I can be an astronaut. I think I want to be an astronaut. Why not? But before Barack Obama, it might not have crossed their mind because they don't see it in movies. Movies let children know what's possible.
Possible.
So that's why Nigerian movies are so well loved, because the story and the representation.
Yeah.
They see black skin, they see Africa, just living their lives and telling their stories. You know, there's a comedian from South Africa named Trevor Noah.
Yeah, very popular.
And yes, and he was interviewing a Nigerian. He was interviewing the musician Burna Boy. And it was Burna Boy, I think it was Burna Boy, I'm not sure. He was interviewing a popular Nigerian who said that he loves Nigerian movies. And Trevor Noah was like, just be honest, those movies are terrible. And the person was like, but they're my people, there's my movies, and Trevor Noah just pointed out how proud Nigerians are of their industry and of themselves. No matter what, Nigerians are always proud to be Nigerian. You won't see a Nigerian denying that they're Nigerian. And you won't see Nigerians are proud to be Nigerian, and Nigerians will always watch Nigerian content. And all black people, I'm generalizing, black people from all over the world generally love Nigerian content.
Okay, like what the music now has turned into. What will you say about our music? Because our music is not taking over the world.
Well, we have the beats, we have rhythm, we have catchy tunes like that Rema song. You know, Baby Calm Down. We have the catchy, like Afro beats, that rhythm. It goes with the human body. It makes the body move. It's a natural thing. Now, the American music industry is very contrived. They decide 1 or 2 years ahead of time who's going to be famous. They try to program for us. From the age of 12, they're already grooming the newest superstars. So they're like, okay, this one who's 12 now, she will be this by 18. So they put them on these paths, and they try to control. But you can't control what people want to dance to. You can't. So a lot of the American music, you see, they might even be using AI to write songs now, because the songs are becoming like mathematical formulas, predictable, and they're following a pattern. They're not free. So, and then some of the lyrics are becoming very negative and dark, in my opinion, demonic. There's a song I heard once. I was in a lounge with some friends, and I was drinking, and we were just moving, and I had heard this song many times, and I didn't listen to the lyrics until that moment. All I heard was, push me to the edge, all my friends are dead, I am not afraid to die. And I just put my drink down and I went home. I said, what demonic thing am I dancing to? I had heard this song over 20 times out in the evening in Harlem in New York, but I never listened to the words. These words are entering our subconscious and programming us. What do you mean, I'm not afraid to die, all my friends are dead, push me to the edge? What do you mean? That song was like #1, I think, for like a year, like a long time. These are the kind of things that I don't agree with about that music industry. There's a kind of a nihilism and a lostness and a wastedness and a oblivionness about that industry that I'm just like, enough. Like in Nigerian music industry, people just sing about fun things. They sing about, oh, they like this woman, they want to sleep with her, or I like your body.
So finally, I want to ask you, you've lived in New York for many years, and you are now living in Abuja. So of these two cities, which of them do you love most to live in?
Wow, I love New York. I would say I've lived in New York more than any other place in my life, so I'm a New Yorker. but I also really like Abuja a lot. What do I love about New York? New York is full of variety and culture. Cultures from all over the world. Restaurants, food, music, theater, art. Sorry, from all over the world is in New York. So in New York, you can hardly be bored. It keeps you really engaged, and there's a lot of nightlife. It's a rich cultural city, New York. Abuja is just more laid back. I like the fact that there's not much traffic in Abuja most of the time, because I don't like the traffic of New York, but Abuja is more laid back. Abuja is more affordable. I mean, not just being in Nigeria. Of course, rent in New York is going to be more than rent in any African city, but Abuja is more affordable. New York is very expensive. You have to work very hard to pay rent in New York. Another one of the cons of New York has a lot of rats. I don't like rats, rodents, and New York has a lot of rats. So does Chicago, and I've lived in both of those cities. So
You mean there are more rats in New York than in Abuja?
I think so. Yes, you'll see them in the subway. You'll see them running on the street in the evenings. Whenever they take out garbage in the evening, you'll see them running around, and they're talking about how to solve the problem. I don't know how they're gonna solve the problem, but that's one of the things I don't like about New York. But I love New York. Abuja is nice, but I think I'd say I'm a New Yorker.
So you prefer New York to Abuja?
Yeah.
But you're in Abuja now.
Well, I'm working on some projects. I have work, so.
So New York is cool. And one question: how are you coping with the heat?
The heat, I'm getting used to it. I avoid being out in the early afternoon when the sun is the hottest. I like cold weather. I love snow. I like being cold. I like ice. Anything like, if I could live in Iceland or in Antarctica, I would be fine with it. I love ice. I love being cold. I love sweaters, scarves, jackets, hats and boots and all of that stuff. I love heat. But I'm getting used to the heat, and
Because Nigeria is hot.
yes. But I believe sometimes New York, when it's humid and hot, New York can be hotter than Nigeria.
Oh.
And Texas can be hotter than Nigeria when there's humidity, because humidity makes the body feel the heat more than when the heat is dry. When the heat is dry, let's say 100 degrees Fahrenheit in dry weather, and 100 degrees Fahrenheit in humid weather. The humid one, the body will feel like it's 110. The body will sweat more, like it's hotter. So Abuja has a lot of dry heat, which is manageable. New York has humid heat, which is very uncomfortable.
Okay. Your New York friends and your Abuja friends, which of these do you prefer?
Oh,
I'm putting you in a spot now.
you're really putting me on the spot. My friends are different from different backgrounds, and I can't really compare people. I can compare cultures. And
Not
cultures affect
not
the
cultures, not cultures. Attitude, manners, friendship, genuinity.
How could you say that?
No, just be sincere.
So blunt.
Just we're talking about two different people. So in life, somebody must be better than somebody in this aspect, while this person is better than this aspect. So no matter how, between these two, there must be difference.
Well, it
So
reminds
I'm
me.
not saying these people are bad. I'm just saying who is better.
Okay, this reminds me of the conversation we had earlier about relationships and dating and marriage, and how in Africa and Nigeria, survival makes things transactional. And I think it affects love and relationships and marriages. It will also affect friendships. People will choose to be your friend sometimes if there's a benefit from it, and if there's an opportunity they can get from it. And it might not just be because, oh, I like her, she likes the same kind of music I like, or I like how she dances, or that woman is funny. My friends in the US is more likely they don't need me for anything, and it's more likely that we have something in common. Whereas here, I have friends here who I have things in common with, but I also have a lot of acquaintances who I feel, if they didn't feel that there was a benefit to knowing me, they wouldn't bother talking to me. So it's not a good feeling. It
Especially
feels,
with this your accent. You know, this your accent represent dollars.
yeah, it sounds like
When
dollars.
you hear you talk like this, you say,
Dollars,
this
dollars,
person has dollars. Because dollars is a very big thing here. $1 goes for like 1,000 naira. Jesus Christ.
I don't know what is going on.
So finally, viewers, we have come to the end of this special interview with my very lovely friend, Miss Linda Obasi. Linda, say hi.
Hello, everybody. It was so nice being here today. Thank you for having me. Wonderful conversation.
Yeah, I promised to be bringing Linda Obasi back. Now you've known her, but to discuss some other topics because she is very vast and she knows a lot.
I talk a lot.
Until I come your way for another episode of Africa's Realities. For now, I, Mr. Johnson YS, I'm saying bye bye for now, and
Bye.
Linda Obasi, bye.
See you later.
See you
Bye.
later.